98 victory over the Nets.
Yeah! Now that's what I'm talking about when you have a division opponent that's creeping up and making runs. KJ, late night, WEEI, 617-779-7937. Text line 37937. Impressive win. Impressive win by the Celtics over the Nets. And don't give me they had no Kevin Durant. They'll have no Kevin Durant for about 3 more weeks. This is when you beat teams down, and what the Celtics did to the Nets in the fourth quarter, at one point up 12-2 in the quarter. The Nets didn't get over 100. And this is what I'm talking about. Start to show your defensive teeth. Last night you got to run up and down, and it was very exciting for the home crowd. Put up 120 points. Pelicans in town. You got 41 points from Jalen. But yeah, you do that with these young teams that are coming in. Welcome to Boston. Tonight was about going down to Brooklyn and keeping that team under 100. Impressive. I mean, Brooklyn got a little loose. And look, in the first quarter is really the only point where you felt like, okay, this could kind of get away. And after that, the Celtics just walked them down. 16 total points for the Nets in the fourth quarter. It almost felt like Kyrie was going to start doing some things, and it just got shut down. And here's the other point. Tatum only had 20 points. That's how champions are built. When your stars don't look so great that night or don't have these great stat lines, and you still win impressively against the team that has pretty much built its resume over the last 2 or 3 weeks as the hot team in the league. But you got Tatum with 20 points, Brogdon with 16, Marcus Smart with 16 and 10 dimes, 15 from Derek White. At one point was just deadly from 3. At one point, I think it was 3 for 4 from 3 at the half. This is how you grind out victories. And I've also said this is why having Malcolm Brogdon on this squad is so important. In fact, here's Malcolm Brogdon, Joe Mazzula, talking about the importance of Brogdon on this squad.
I think he's doing well. I think when he plays at a certain pace in that second unit, and it gives us that spark, we can play even faster with that unit. And I think he does a great job of recognizing 2-on-1s. He does a great job of recognizing angles. And so he gets a lot of good looks off the dribble threes when we run our mid-pick and roll action because of the coverage that they're in. And when him and JT are in a screen together and he uses a screen, we get a lot of good action out of that. And so, his dynamic has been really good for us all year.
He was the best shooter tonight. 7 of 13, 2 for 3 from 3. This is the piece that the Celtics were missing last year. Now with Robert Williams back in there, getting extended minutes, almost 30 minutes tonight. And just having live, active bodies moving. Eventually, they'll be very hard for any team to handle. Even if I look at Milwaukee, while they have bodies, a lot of those bodies are big. There's just no way Brook Lopez is going to be able to run up and down the court with this Celtics team. Portis, maybe, but you're not really worried about the scoring or him taking over a game. It would right now, if the Celtics and the Bucks had to play each other in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, you would say, oh yeah, Giannis is going to be drained tired by game 3 or 4 because he'll have to do everything. The Celtics are starting to come together at the right time, playing the defense. They've won 5 in a row. They're now up 3 on Brooklyn after the win tonight. And so now you're starting to get space, which was a concern. At one point, there was just this tightness of 3 or 4 games between spots 1 and 5, 6. Now the Celtics are starting to pull away. Won 8 of their last 10. Their point differential is starting to creep up. At the very beginning of the season, when they were on that incredible run and hadn't lost at home, when I started to look at numbers, it was like, this team is very much like the 88 Celtics in terms of point differential, how they were beating teams. Now, I'm not saying in terms of the structure, obviously it's totally different. But in terms of what they were doing across the league and what the Celtics are doing in the league right now, this is very much 88 Celtics. Now, I mean, I hate to say it, it doesn't really end in a good story, but that can change. 617-779-7937, text line 37937. Producer Andrew, thank you so much for being here tonight, man.
Good to be here, especially with that Celtics win, huh? It's a good one.
It's a good one. And right as the Celtics are starting to pull away, my watch goes off and says that Lisa Marie Presley died. I was like, what?
It's a lot of big news tonight. A lot of big Patriots news. The Bruins, they just lost Seattle, the first team to beat the Bruins in regulation at home. A lot going on tonight. It's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, first for the Bruins. You can't be perfect at everything. We expect that, but gosh, yeah. So hang out. Plenty of 2 hours here over the next couple hours. But yeah, Milwaukee's starting to slip. Look, this is crazy. Just in the top 6 teams, only the Celtics and the Knicks have any type of winning streak going on right now. Everybody else is lost. There's only 3 teams in the entire Eastern Conference in its top 10 that have any type of winning streak. So this is a perfect time for the Celtics to not only stretch themselves out, but also a chance to stretch their bench. In fact, Luke Cornett tonight, oh my gosh, he caught a reverse alley. Like, did I do that? But Joe Mazzula talks about the importance of having Luke Cornett.
Yeah, he's been great. When he's physical and he has a presence at the rim, and he makes our defense better, and then he gets us extra possessions on the offensive end. And so to have, size like that to where we're able to change our defenses really helps us. And I think he helps that second unit with his screening. A lot of second units go small, so when he's out there, his switching screening helps us. His rim protection helps us, and then his offensive rebounding helps us.
Yeah. I mean, think about the development in his usage, where I said if there was one thing that the Celtics may have to look at as they get towards the midpoint of the season, would they have to acquire another big body that isn't necessarily a scorer, but someone who could take up space, who can get you a couple of points if you need it, and specifically rebound, so that way Robert Williams isn't eating up too many minutes as his who knew it was going to be Luke Cornett? I didn't know that. 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. I mean, the Celtics just absolutely out-hustled the Nets tonight. That's really what it came down to, is the Celtics wanted the loose balls more. They were getting the putbacks and the offensive rebounds. 12-5 in offensive rebounding? That's absolutely ridiculous, considering that Robert Williams had no offensive rebounds. It's games like this, and maybe, I'm not a head coach or anything like that, but maybe this is one of those games that you show this team that says, this is the team right here that cannot be beat, where nobody's scoring 30, nobody's scoring 40, but it's just coming at you in so many different ways that by the time you look up, the opponent's lost by 10, and they haven't even scored 100. Now, obviously, you would want to see the games where people go off. It's part of entertainment. But in terms of getting the W, it doesn't matter whether you win 2-1 or 120-118. It doesn't matter. I mean, it would be a big story if it was a 2-1 game. It would be national news. But Jason Tatum was only 7 for 22 from the field and 2 for 10 from 3. And this game was never really in doubt after halftime. I'm impressed. 617-779-7937. Text line 37937 still to come. My goodness, the Patriots just, like, they opened the deep sea scrolls today. Like a press release letting you know what they were doing in this moment and what the plans were. Did Robert Kraft put both feet down? That's in 5 minutes. But the Celtics deserve their flowers to start the show. I said, last night when I was here, I was telling the producer last night, like he asked me which ones are the most important games coming up for the Celtics. I said, well, yeah, while the Warriors would be kind of important just for ego and pride, and you'd want to compete because that's who you played in the NBA Finals, the bookend games with the Nets on the road and then the Nets at home are the 2 most important games over the next 4 or 5. Because if you can clearly show the Nets what they can't do, it doesn't matter if Kevin Durant was there tonight. You can't say, well, Kevin would have easily gotten 20. Well, you can say, well, if that's the case, Tatum might have gone for 30. Jaylen Brown would have been there. So with no Jaylen Brown, with no Al Horford, you still pull 110. That's key. Because now that says the other pieces that last year you were just like, oh, man, if just Grant Williams could just get more than 4 points. Those days are over. Marcus Smart, 10 dimes, that's now kind of the norm. And you have to really say, okay, this team is now serious about showing the Eastern Conference that this is nobody else's. You're up 3 games on the Nets. You're up 3.5 games on the Bucks. These are the games where you have to get where if you don't have the other half of your superstar there, beat the teams that don't need to be in the mix with you and make them struggle.